imagine having an assistant.
Right.
But we're not talking about a normal intern here. I mean, this assistant works 24/7.
Right.
It never needs to sleep. It never takes a coffee break.
Yeah.
And it literally never gets tired. You ask it a complex question, and it answers instantly.
Yeah.
If you need help studying, a notoriously difficult topic, it just breaks it down for you.
Right.
If you need to draft a highly sensitive email to a frustrated client,
It completely handles it.
exactly, it handles it perfectly. You want to generate new ideas, brainstorm content, or figure out how to explain some bizarre scientific concept to a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
It does all of that, essentially flawlessly. And here's the absolute best part. This invisible assistant is entirely free.
Well, I mean, when you lay it out like that, it honestly sounds like complete science fiction, or at least, some billionaire's private, highly classified setup.
Right. It sounds completely out of reach. But here's the crazy reveal for you listening right now. Millions of people are already using this impossible assistant every single day.
They really are.
You might feel like you're behind the curve, but the truth is, we are just at the starting line here. You've heard the name everywhere. It's called ChatGPT.
And our mission for this deep dive is to completely demystify this tool for absolute beginners. We aren't going to get bogged down in tech jargon.
Please, no jargon.
Exactly. We are going to explore exactly what it is, strip away the intimidation factor, look at how it can literally save you hours of work every single week, and most importantly, show you exactly how to start using it today.
Yeah.
Because understanding this technology isn't just like a fun weekend hobby anymore. It is becoming absolutely essential if you want to navigate today's rapidly changing digital landscape.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
We've just promised the listener an invisible, tireless assistant, but it's still, a bit abstract.
Yeah.
We need to move from this high-level sci-fi concept to a concrete understanding of what this thing actually does.
Right.
Now, if you're trying to wrap your head around this, a lot of people start by saying it's like a super smart friend. But I think we need to go a step further. Imagine you are a movie director, and ChatGPT is an incredibly talented but incredibly literal actor on your set.
Oh, I like that. A friend implies, well, a casual equal relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
But with ChatGPT, you're the one giving the directions. You go to this actor and you say, I need you to explain photosynthesis to me, but do it in the style of an enthusiastic biology teacher. And it immediately steps into that role and delivers the lines simply and clearly.
It's acting the part.
Right. Or you say, I need you to play the role of an executive assistant and draft an email to my manager asking for time off. And it just writes a perfect draft.
Mechanically speaking, though, what is happening behind this screen? Because I know a lot of people hear artificial intelligence, and they immediately picture, like, complex coding streams, like in the Matrix.
Right, the green text falling down the screen. Mechanically, what you're interacting with is a large language model. It's an AI that has been trained on a massive chunk of the internet to understand questions and generate useful responses using natural language. It's not speaking in code.
Right.
It's speaking to you the exact same way a human would, analyzing the context of your words to predict the most helpful response.
But wait, let me stop you there for a second. Is it basically just a highly advanced Google search? Because if I need to know about photosynthesis, I mean, I can just type that into a search engine right now. Why do I need a whole new tool for that?
That is the absolute most common hurdle for beginners. They are fundamentally different tools.
Okay.
Think of it this way. A traditional search engine is like a librarian. You go to the desk, you ask for a topic, and the librarian points you to an aisle with a bunch of different books or websites where you might find the answer. The librarian's job is done.
Yeah.
You still have to read the books, synthesize the information, pull out the relevant facts, and figure it out yourself.
You do all the heavy lifting.
Exactly. ChatGPT, on the other hand, is like having the expert sitting in the room with you, actively creating a custom answer just for you. Let's explore the "what should I eat today" scenario. I think it perfectly highlights the difference.
Oh, this is a great everyday example. Because if you type, "what should I eat today?" into a traditional search engine, what do you actually get? You get a list of SEO-optimized articles titled, like, Top 50 Dinner Ideas for Busy Families.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have to click one, scroll past a massive 10-page story about the author's trip to Tuscany.
Right, the whole life story.
Just to find a recipe that requires 5 ingredients you definitely don't have in your fridge.
Precisely. It's a retrieval system. But if you ask ChatGPT, it turns the query into a conversation. It isn't just retrieving a link, it's generating.
Generating.
Yes. It might ask you back, well, what are your goals? Are you trying to eat healthy? What ingredients do you have in your kitchen right now? What tastes do you like? And based on your answers, it actively generates personalized suggestions. It might say, since you only have chicken, rice, and broccoli, and you want something healthy, here is a quick 20-minute stir-fry recipe. It is generating a brand new response based on your specific context.
It's generating. That's the absolute key word here. And this brings us to a concept that I find hilarious, but also deeply relatable from the sources. It's called the hard mode of life.
Yes, the hard mode.
If you are using this generation capability, you are basically choosing to do everything the hard way.
You really are.
Think about needing a simple leave application for a family function. The old way, the hard mode way, you go to a search engine, you search leave application format, family function, you open like 3 different websites, you find one that looks semi-professional,
Right.
You highlight it, copy it, paste it into a document, the formatting gets all messed up, the font size is wrong, there's a weird gray background behind the text. So you spend 10 minutes fixing the fonts. Then you edit the names and dates. 30 minutes are just gone for a task that requires 0 actual creativity.
30 minutes drained away on a totally routine administrative task. You are spending your cognitive energy on the mechanics of formatting and searching rather than the actual substance of your work.
Right, but with ChatGPT, you just type 1 sentence. Write a professional leave application for 2 days due to a family function. You hit enter, and the finished, perfectly formatted text is there in about 3 seconds.
Yep.
There is this story of an employee who turns to their coworker and complains, "Man, I just spent 3 hours agonizing over the tone of this email to our vendor." Their coworker says, "Why didn't you just use AI to draft it?" The employee asks, "What's AI?" And the coworker just replies, "Congratulations, you are successfully playing life on hard mode."
We laugh, but it's profoundly true. Once you see the shortcut, you realize how much time we waste on the friction of daily tasks.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Because ChatGPT isn't a search engine, you can't just type in random keywords and expect those magic time-saving results, right?
Yeah.
If you treat it like Google, you'll be disappointed. We have to learn an entirely new way of communicating with a machine. And that brings us to the art of the prompt.
Yes, prompting. A prompt is simply the instruction, the set of directions you give to the AI. Because it operates on natural language, the quality of what you get out of it is entirely dependent on the quality of what you put into it. There is a specific framework, a magic prompt formula, that completely changes the game for beginners.
Okay, let's hear the formula.
It has 4 parts: act, task, details, goal. Act, task, details, goal.
Hold on a second. I have to push back here. Act, task, details, goal. That is 4 separate steps just to ask a machine a question.
I know, it sounds...
If I just want a quick email draft, mapping out a 4-part formula sounds like way more work than just typing the email myself. I'm looking for a shortcut here, not homework.
I completely understand that reaction. It definitely feels like extra work up front, but think of it as an investment of 10 seconds to save you 20 minutes of editing. Let's actually apply it and you'll see why the upfront work is necessary. Let's say you want to start a YouTube channel. The beginner instinct is to just type, "Give me video ideas." That's the whole prompt.
And what happens if you do that?
You get a painfully generic list. It will say things like, do a vlog or do a review video. It's useless because it lacks context. Now let's use the formula. First, the act. You give the AI a role or a persona. You say, act as a viral marketing expert.
Okay, the act.
Then the task. Create 10 YouTube video titles. Next, the details for a spoken English channel targeting absolute beginners. Finally, the goal. The goal is to generate titles that are highly clickable, but not clickbait.
So the full prompt is, act as a viral marketing expert. Create 10 YouTube video titles for a spoken English channel targeting beginners. The goal is highly clickable titles that aren't clickbait.
Exactly. The output you get from that will be incredibly specific, tailored, and ready to use. What's fascinating here is why that first part, giving the AI a persona, the act as part, drastically changes the quality of the output.
Yeah, I've always wondered about that. Why does it need a persona? Doesn't the machine already know everything? Why do I have to tell it to be a marketing expert?
It does know everything, and that is exactly the problem. It has access to billions of data points. It knows how a dusty academic from the 1800s would write a title. It knows how a 1920s poet would write it, and it knows how a modern digital marketer would write it.
Right.
By saying, act as a marketing expert, you are forcing the AI to filter all of its vast knowledge through one specific lens. It's like tuning a radio. If you don't tune it, you get a lot of static and overlapping stations. The persona tunes the AI to the exact frequency you want.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. You're narrowing down its universe of options, so it gives you the
Right.
right flavor of answer. All right, I have a challenge for you listening right now. I'm going to give you two options, two different prompts, and I want you to guess which one is going to give you the better result based on what we just learned. Ready?
Let's do it.
Prompt A is just one word, resume. Prompt B is act as an executive recruiter. Create a professional resume outline for an MBA graduate with 2 years of internship experience in software sales and content development. The goal is to highlight leadership and revenue growth. Take a second, and obviously the winner is prompt B.
It seems glaringly obvious when we put them side by side, but you'd be shocked by how many beginners just type one word like email or resume, hit enter, and then get completely frustrated when the AI spits out a generic, unhelpful template.
The golden rule is undeniable. More details equal better results. If you look at a real human assistant who just walked into your office and you just yell resume at them, they're going to stare at you blankly.
Absolutely.
Whose resume? For what job? What's the background? The AI needs that context just as much as a human would.
Exactly. The clarity of your instruction dictates the quality of your result.
Okay, so now that we have this secret formula for communicating act, task, details, goal, it's time to unleash it. Let's talk about the practical superpowers this gives people in everyday life. Because I think a lot of people still assume this is just a toy for tech bros or programmers. Let's dive into some real-world scenarios.
There are so many.
I've been thinking about job seekers, for instance. Because usually the advice is to tailor your resume to every single job you apply for. And doing that manually for 5 different jobs takes an entire weekend. It is soul-crushing work.
For job seekers, this tool is an absolute goldmine. Yes, you can feed it a job description, paste your current base resume, and say, act as an expert resume writer. Rewrite my bullet points to highlight the skills mentioned in this specific job description. It does it in seconds.
That's huge.
But the most powerful use case here, which most people never think of, is the mock interview.
A mock interview. Wait, how does that work?
You use the formula. You say, act as a hiring manager for a senior sales executive position. I am the candidate. Conduct a mock interview with me. Ask me one question at a time, wait for my response, and then give me critical feedback on my answer before moving to the next question.
Wait, really? It will actually role play with you in real time.
Absolutely. It turns the AI into an interactive coach. You give an answer, and it might say, your answer about your biggest weakness was a bit cliché. Let's try framing it around a specific technical skill you are actively improving. You practice your answers, and it tells you exactly where your blind spots are.
That is wild. You essentially have a free career coach on standby. Let's pivot to another scenario. What if I'm trying to learn something completely new? Like I'm reading a dense textbook or an incredibly dry financial report, and my eyes are just glazing over.
This is where ChatGPT shines as an educational tool. Instead of giving up, you copy the dense text, paste it into the chat, and use the prompt. Act as an expert teacher. Explain this concept to me like I'm a 10-year-old. Use simple analogies and remove all the industry jargon.
I love the explain like I'm 10 prompt.
It's so effective, it will instantly translate a wall of academic text into a simple story or a clear, digestible explanation.
And you don't have to feel embarrassed about not understanding something.
That lack of judgment is a massive psychological benefit. You can ask the stupid questions you might be afraid to ask a college professor or your boss in a meeting.
Speaking of learning, there is one specific prompt strategy that completely blew my mind. If you are studying for a certification or an exam, you don't just ask it to summarize your notes. You say, act as a tough examiner. Create a 10-question multiple-choice quiz based on these notes to test my knowledge. Don't give me the answers until I submit my guesses.
Oh, that's brilliant. It creates an active learning environment. You aren't just passively reading, you are interacting and testing yourself. And if you get a question wrong, you can just ask, why is A the correct answer and not B? And it will explain the reasoning.
It's literally like having a private tutor sitting right at your kitchen table.
Yeah.
But this raises an important question. With all these incredible capabilities, it is very easy to get overconfident.
Yes, it is.
I feel like we need to talk about where this goes wrong. Because nothing is perfect. To truly master this tool, what are the blind spots beginners need to watch out for?
That is a crucial pivot. There are 3 major beginner mistakes that you absolutely need to avoid. The first one, we've already hammered home: vagueness,
Right.
giving very little information and expecting a masterpiece. If you are vague, the AI is vague. But the second mistake is much more dangerous, and that is assuming every single answer the AI gives you is a perfect, undeniable fact.
Right. The machine can make mistakes. I've heard the term hallucination thrown around a lot.
Hmm.
What exactly does that mean? Why would a machine hallucinate?
It goes back to how the technology actually works. Remember, we said it's not a search engine retrieving a factual database. It is a language model. It is essentially playing the world's most advanced game of autocomplete.
Autocomplete. Oh,
It predicts the next most likely word based on patterns it learned from the internet. Most of the time, those patterns align with the truth. But sometimes it predicts a pattern of words that sounds highly confident, grammatically perfect, and totally plausible, but is entirely fictional.
that is a hallucination.
Wow, okay, so it's not lying to you on purpose. It's just trying so hard to give you a natural-sounding answer that it essentially guesses wrong with extreme confidence.
Exactly. It wants to please you by completing the pattern. This means you can never, ever blindly copy-paste an important report, a legal document, or factual data without reviewing it.
You have to check it.
You have to. Treat ChatGPT like a very fast, very smart, but slightly overeager intern. They do the heavy lifting, they write the drafts, they brainstorm the ideas, but you are the manager.
The eager intern analogy is perfect.
You have to read it. You have to sign off on the final product. You are ultimately responsible for the accuracy.
You wouldn't just take a draft from an intern and send it directly to the CEO without reading it. So what is the third major beginner mistake? The third mistake is not asking follow-up questions. Too many beginners treat ChatGPT like a vending machine. They put a coin in, get a snack out, and if it's not the exact snack they wanted, they just shrug and walk away.
You just give up.
They type a prompt, get an answer, and if it's not perfect, they quit. They don't realize that the first answer is always just a rough draft.
Because it's a conversation.
Exactly. You are chatting with it. If the first answer it gives you is way too complicated, you don't need to write a whole new prompt. You literally just type, "Make that simpler."
Yeah.
If the email it drafted sounds too casual for your boss, you just type, "Rewrite this to sound much more formal and professional." You can ask it to explain that second paragraph more, or give me 3 real-world examples of that concept. You iterate and converse until the result is exactly what you need.
You don't have to start over from scratch every time. You just guide it.
Hmm.
To highlight how literal this machine can be if you don't communicate well, there's this really funny user interaction from the sources that perfectly captures the beginner struggle.
Oh, let's hear it.
A user opens up ChatGPT and types, "Write a speech." The AI, lacking any context, asks, "About what?" The user replies, "Anything." And the AI fires back, "Congratulations, you've given me the world's most confusing instruction."
It perfectly illustrates the point. The AI is a mirror of your own clarity. If you are lazy with your instructions, the output is going to be lazy. If you are precise, thoughtful, and use the formula, the output is exceptionally sharp.
So what does this all mean for you listening? We've talked about the magic formula: act, task, details, goal. We've explored how it can act as a career coach for mock interviews or a private tutor that builds custom quizzes. And we've covered the crucial blind spots like hallucinations and the need to iterate. How do we pull all of this together into a mindset you can actually use?
If we connect all of this to the bigger picture, we can synthesize a core philosophy. And that philosophy tackles the elephant in the room. ChatGPT is not about replacing people.
That is the big underlying anxiety, isn't it? Everyone is secretly, or not so secretly, worried that the robots are coming for our jobs.
It is the dominant fear, but we need to reframe it. Don't think of AI as a replacement. Think of it as an enhancer.
An enhancer.
It's a tutor when you're studying a complex subject. It's a tireless colleague when you're bogged down in administrative busy work. It's a creative partner when you are staring at a blank page trying to make content. It's about helping you work faster, learn faster, and skip the tedious parts of your day.
It's an enhancer, not a replacer. I love that.
Precisely. And this leads to an ultimate takeaway that is vital to remember. The people who learn to use AI effectively won't be replaced by AI. They'll simply work smarter, save countless hours, and outpace the people who refuse to adapt.
You aren't competing against the AI. You're competing against the person sitting in the cubicle next to you who has figured out how to use the AI to do their job in half the time.
That is the uncompromising reality of the landscape we are moving into.
All right, I have a simple challenge for you listening. Think of that one task that you've been putting off this week because it's tedious, boring, or intimidating. Maybe it's drafting a difficult email, brainstorming ideas for a project, or updating your resume.
Just pick one.
Take that task, apply the secret formula act, task, details, goal, and test it out for yourself today. Open up ChatGPT, have a conversation, and just see what happens. Stop playing life on hard mode.
Experience that aha moment and the time saving for yourself. Once you see it, you literally can't unsee it.
But before we go, I want to leave you with a completely different thought to mull over. We've spent this entire time talking about how we prompt the AI, how we give it instructions, how we guide it, how we tune the radio to get what we want. But as these tools get smarter, as they get more integrated into our calendars, our emails, and our daily routines, how long will it be until the AI starts prompting us?
Oh, that's interesting.
What happens when you open your laptop and your assistant has already anticipated your needs, drafted your morning emails, and is asking you to approve a strategy you hadn't even thought of yet?
That is the real frontier. We are moving from artificial intelligence to artificial anticipation.
And on that note, your assistant is waiting for your instructions. So the only question left to ask yourself is, what are you going to ask it to do first?